African National Park. Her 3-month-old calf has fallen into a deep, muddy watering hole.
It was swimming a doggy paddle and, scraping against that embankment. That little trunk kept sort of sinking and coming up and sinking and coming up.
Tourists Amanda Judson and Mark Dixon watch helplessly as the baby elephant fights desperately for his life.
There is nothing that you can do. You just have to watch nature play its role.
But elephant expert John Leinhardt knows sometimes nature can be cruel.
The immediate danger to that baby elephant is it'll get stuck and eventually the herd would have to leave it. It would either drown or it would starve or predators would come.
The frantic mother elephant comes to her calf's rescue.
The embankment is steep. It's not just something that they simply walk him up, they actually have to lift him up.
She tries repeatedly to scoop up the 300-pound baby with her trunk. Another female elephant, believed to be an aunt, even tries to help. But Mom's attempts to latch onto her calf are in vain.
Baby elephants are a huge investment for the mothers, and they are incredibly protective. They carry them for 2 years during the pregnancy, and they'll nurse them for another 2 to 4 years.
That impassioned maternal instinct is a natural part of the elephant's matriarchal society. With the exception of the young males, the herd is predominantly made up of females who live together for life and protect each other at all costs.
I'm sitting there thinking, is the herd going to be able to come through and help this guy? What are they going to do?
African elephants are very intelligent, and they do have vocal communications.
Elephants have at least 25 distinctive vocal calls. These sounds are created when air from the elephant's lungs passes over their vocal cords, causing them to vibrate. The sound produced then travels through the elephant's skull, where it's amplified and becomes a high-pitched trumpet, or modified into an infrasonic rumble humans can't hear.
I believe that this group was communicating, first going, what should we do? What should we do? And then it's like, get in the water, push it.
And that's exactly what the ant has in mind. You can see her getting into the water. At first, she's a little reluctant, but then she gets a push from the largest elephant in the herd.
She's sort of nudging her on her rump to say, get in there, get in there.
Once the ant is in the water, she tries to turn the calf around.
She tried to shift it, down parallel to the embankment towards the shallower end, and all this little thing was worried about was getting back up the embankment to its mother.
You can see the frantic little guy, eyes fixated on Mom. Now she has no choice but to slide delicately over the muddy edge into the water to get her calf.
When the mother went in, she went in very slowly, and she used her knees and her trunk and her head to reposition him and redirect the little elephant towards the shallow side of the dam.
Amazingly, mother and aunt work in unison, carefully guiding the calf to the shallow end and onto shore.
You saw the procession going through, trying to support the little elephant, keeping him up and moving him in a certain direction.
It would seem the terrifying ordeal is over for this exhausted little calf. It isn't.
It was almost like out of the frying pan into the fire. He then got stuck in the mud and bogged down in the mud.
It was very thick mud. It was quite exhausting getting into this mud and now having to maneuver itself through this.
Not to worry. This enterprising herd has another plan.
They actually were using their feet to make furrows and move the mud away from this little one so that it had a channel of sorts to actually maneuver through and eventually move itself out onto the dry land.
It took 7 tense minutes that seemed like hours. But finally, this little calf finds his footing.
It was goosebump material, just watching this family unit being able to walk off with a little elephant.
There was just a feeling of pure elation. You kind of wanted to shout out in excitement.
reunited with not just his dedicated mother, but an entire herd of adoring sisters, aunts, and cousins.